say, hey, can you make this better? And it'll kick stuff out. It'll give you can use it to your advantage.
Right.
And I will tell you, I think you look back on school, right? You look back at college, high school, elementary school, and it's about learning, right? And it's about learning things, and it's about learning math, Randy, like you said. But now we all walk around with a calculator in our hands every day, right? We all have Chat GPT. I think it's not necessarily about I know what 2 + 2 is, which is what
4.
Thank you.
No,
It's about
that's why you have Ruby there, correct?
That's right. That's
Keep
right.
them straight, Ruby.
I know what 100 + 100 is. 200.
That's awesome. Yeah.
This is Ruby GPT right here.
Yeah.
But I think it's about learning how to problem solve. And those two things allow you to be better and problem solve and be better. I read an article yesterday. This guy, and I can't remember his name, but he's apparently he's the thought leader on what's coming in the future. And this guy thinks we will come into a golden age of being humans in 2035, that AI will develop that fast that within the next 10 years, you won't type into Google like, hey, what's this or what's that? You will think it and it will come to you. And that's crazy when you think about just that world. It's absolutely crazy. I believe that we interact more with AI than we realize we do.
We do.
It's out there. It's on phone calls. It's in things we interact with. It's chat bots on Walmart.com. It's out there more than we ever realize, and it's becoming more and more prevalent every day. But it'll never take away stuff like we're doing right now. It can't. It can't take this away. And to Randy's point, we're all seasoned veterans, right, in life, and if this is coming. And you better embrace it, and you better at least have an understanding. Because if one day somebody says, "Oh, Chat GPT," and you don't even know how to get to that, that's going to be a miss.
Yeah.
So
exactly.
I use the Grammarly, which if I do an email or writing anything, any content, and it will correct my spelling, put the punctuation in. I'm really grateful for that. And then I use AnyWord, where if I want to create something for my marketing or email, I'll create the original text and I'll put it in. It'll enhance it and give me a different twist on it. I can put different emotions in it and that type of thing. But I still want to rely on my thinking and just have somebody correct my poor grammar.
So we have we have 3 or 4 of hers in the house through Amazon, right? And there's one sitting right here in my office, and they're getting ready to roll out by the end of the month an AI version of this. It's paid, but instead of having to say her name with each interaction, it's AI generated, and it will carry on a conversation. That's coming.
It's amazing.
Coming.
And it's so interactive anymore. Even with Chat GTP, for example, I found I read it somewhere. I don't even remember who wrote it, or I heard it or whatever, but I started doing it, and silly as it sounds, I think it makes sense. But when I have Chat GTP do something for me, like if I finish up a blog, now I'll still Randyize it, and then I ask it to produce a picture based on what I just wrote about. Now, the picture will come back, and it's like, I change this because I don't quite like that, modernize this to whatever. But what I've learned to do is to literally chat with Chat GTP, and I thank it. I tell it that's perfect. That's exactly what I was looking for, because I don't know how accurate this is, but it makes sense to me that every time you congratulate it on doing well for you, it's learning you, right? It's learning that was good. Or I equally say, no, that is not at all what I wanted. Don't like it. I've learned, and as weird as that sounds, to be talking or typing to someplace on Mars, I guess. I don't know wherever these goofy people live. It is an oddity to do, but I think that does work, because I noticed that over time when I ask it to do something, like I've got better at telling it to use my own unique voice. Using everything about me, things like that. Another one is great for whatever it's worth is it doesn't always do it, because one thing with Chat GTP especially is it's got certain AI phrases that they just love to use, no matter what you do.
Yep.
I still tell it I say, please avoid all notorious AI phrases. Now, it still gives me
Really?
some stupid thing, but I think it makes it better. I really do, because
I love
if you
that.
don't, and so I've learned, and I need to become better at being a better prompter, because that's what it's all about. It's the garbage in, garbage out that we used to learn in the early days, right? You're only going to get out of it what you tell it you want, right?
Yeah,
So,
that's a great point. One of telling it like I want this. So you guys know I wrote this book. Well, my other book that I wrote, which is 52 Ways to Show Your Wife You Love Her, right? Which, by the way, is selling really well right now for Valentine's Day. I literally wrote that book in a matter of 3-4 days. Okay, and what I did was I came up with the 52 things that I try to practice with my wife, and I fail at showing my wife how much I love her all the time. But I went ahead and wrote down the 52 ideas. I had them all typed up, and with some of them I had just like date night, and I had some things like that. But then I had some that had a little more, like I had some examples of things like I did, and I wrote them out, and I put all of it into Chat GPT, and I said, give me a 4-sentence paragraph about every one of these, and kicked them all out, and then I kicked it back, and within 3-4 days, book was written and done.
Awesome.
And that's
what I do. I do what you guys are talking about. I'll do it in an outline format based on this information. Okay, can you write me a paragraph? And it's kind of cool to see. I'll write a paragraph, and I want to see what it'll tell me. And then sometimes I'll put my paragraph and say, okay, improve this now, from me originally, and say, now improve this. And
I love what Tim Lord just posted.
Yeah.
Prompt writing is an art.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, and that's exactly what Randy's talking about. And so it's true. Telling it and pushing it in the right direction is, it's an art. It
is huge. And I over the weekend, the last 3 days, when I go through Instagram or TikTok or whatever, there's always these people that are quote experts, right? But I do see some things.
I don't know what those are anymore.
I know. But I'll copy and paste, or I'll screenshot them and save those in a file, because I want to keep learning how to be a better prompter, because I'm probably way, way far from where I need to be yet. And it's amazing when I put something in, and I keep asking it to do things like make it more conversational, humanize it. You're not using my voice. You start giving it those things, but you'll save even more time if you tell it that up front the first time, right? And it's amazing. And I'm such a novice in it. Probably all of us right here are like we're not even kindergarten in it yet.
No.
But yet we're probably way ahead of probably 80% of the people that are still going, oh my God, I can't, that scares me. I don't want to touch that. So I just, like I said, if anybody listening, man, just, you better do it. You better learn.
Randy, that makes me think back to like when COVID hit and we were trying to figure out like, what are we going to do and how are we going to get to our customers, and how, and here's this mountain of what does this look like? And we were out just trying, we were doing things, right? We were just here, just open the fire hose and let's take a drink. Whereas other people that we knew were waiting to be told by, nothing against like Jeb Blunt or Gittimer or whatever, but other people were waiting to be told, well, here's what you should do. And we were so far up the mountain already because we just didn't wait. And I think to that point with Chat GPT, and AI, you better embrace it because it's coming. It's here.
It is. And a key to what you just said, Eric, that I love is the fact that sometimes we get too wrapped up in, I don't want to screw up, I don't want to make a mistake. Make mistakes.
Yes.
I love mistakes. I love screwing up. right? Because if we screw up, then we're trying something more. You
Right.
massage it, you fix it, you know what doesn't work. Sometimes and this is an age-old thing, but you learn way more from stuff that screws up than you do
Yeah.
what works. Because if it works, it's
Yeah.
easy. But if it screws
You know-
up, you're going, oh crap, I'm never doing that again. And
Randy,
move on.
you bring up something I love. You talk about like failing, right? And I talk about, you know, fail forward, right?
Mhm.
You want to fail and get better from it. If you fail and you're in the same spot, well, that's
Right.
dumb. And if you fail and you go backwards, well, that's dumb. I mean, Randy, you're a seasoned veteran now in your field, but you
Oh,
still probably fail a lot, don't you?
every day.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't look
Man,
at it this way.
I never fail.
Well,
you know?
Mark doesn't, but
No.
you know, I look at it this way. And I'm not always brutally honest with myself. I try to be, but if I didn't fail at something today, if I'm honest with myself, I go, you didn't try enough today, dude. You got to do better tomorrow. Right. Because and it's because we don't want to admit failure. We don't want to embrace failure. But
Right.
I think anybody that's honest with themselves, I mean, a good example, because we're talking kind of broadcasting, that's what we're doing. One of the, forget whether which side of the aisle anybody falls on, one of the greatest successes in our recent history was Rush Limbaugh, you know, rest in peace, right? He
Yeah.
failed and failed and failed and failed and failed and got fired and failed and got fired. And he became look at what he became at the end, because he kept fixing and massaging and fixing upon his failures, right? And
Yeah.
that, you know, and to go the other side, so nobody says I fall on one side or the other. Oprah Winfrey was the same way.
Right.
She kept
Right.
failing and failing miserably. So,
Yeah.
you know,
Hey,
the best
Tom,
successes fail.
He was talking sides. Now, if you're listening, you can figure out what he's talking about.
Right.
I love the way he put it.
You know, Randy,
Say it, if you're a Dem or Republican or a moderate or whatever you are.
well, Mark said the words.
He
There
said
we
the
go.
word.
Now it's gone downhill.
Now,
You know, Randy,
now
one
Facebook's
of the
gonna
you just
kill us.
you're talking about failing. I think the biggest thing for us about failing is we're worried about what other people are going to think
Mhm.
that we failed, right? And if we lived in a vacuum where nobody knew everything we failed at, right, we would try so many things in this world because we'd
Right.
have no fear of judgment, right? And yet we worry about what everyone else thinks about us, and the reality is they're worrying about what you think about them, and so consequently we're all paralyzed to do nothing,
Exactly.
right?
If
Nothing.
Eric, if they even think about you at all. See, we sometimes
True.
think people are thinking more about us than they really are.
They're
right?
not thinking about us, that's for sure.
Exactly.
No.
They could care less. Yeah. Whatever.
Hey, Randy, I have to ask you something because you
Yes.
know we're together, and you know, will you tell us all about the shoe thing that you learned in the hotel?
I will. It was amazing. It was,
Please.
I will, because you know that old saying, I was this many years old, like today when I learned this.
Yes.
That was one of those moments. I was at a small trade show, and one of our people on our staff, because I'm on the board of directors of this show, and she talked to a flight attendant that she knew, and that what they do when they get to the hotel room at night, because they set their shoes inside the room but by the door with the toes pointing whichever way the elevator is. So that in the morning when you put your shoes on, because you know how many times, I mean, I know we've all done it, especially in big city hotels, your big show, 700 stories tall and 9 million rooms, and you're going, I don't know, it's like 5 miles down that way,
Yep.
6 miles down that way. I have no freaking idea where the elevator is, right? And I thought, that is so stupidly brilliant
Yes.
that I do that every time now. I that's become my norm now. I've traveled 4 or 5 times, 3 or 4 times since I learned that little trick.
Yeah.
It's so easy. Never thought about it in my life. But then again, it was only like 5 years ago that I figured out that little gas thing with the arrow pointing to your little gas door was actually where your gas door was.
You didn't know that?
It took me a long time to know that.
Wow.
Like 4
Wow.
years ago, I figured that out. I'm not that smart. That's why I use AI.
I've got a question for all three of you. This is an easy question, easy answer. Mark, we'll start with you first. What are you reading right now, or what have you read recently that's impacted you?
Can I?
You can hold it up. Yeah. What do you got?
I got to keep it going here. It's called Motivation Manifesto. Going back here, I highlight and do crazy things. Um, there is something else. I'm Selling from the Heart. Larry Levine. I'm rereading and highlighting. Selling in a Post-Trust World. Just trying to get the feel of that. That's a book of his. In fact, I have it right. There it is. This one, pretty good book.
There you go.
It's good. I mean, it's not. And again, I even say I highlight away and I make notes and I apply some, try and apply things. I'm like, okay, today, how am I going to approach this customer? Like, I might be dealing with Randy that's very assertive and kind of surly and negative. So how am I going to go after this? Not go after, but converse with them, engage with them. And it's real interesting. And one day I said to him, you know what? It seems like you had a really negative experience with any type of training, not just sales and marketing training. And it got real quiet. And he goes, well, I did. I said, really? Well, tell me about it. And then he did. So after I listened, so I said, like if it was Randy, say, okay, Randy, well, just tell me where we're at right now. I mean, obviously you're not in the discovery stage. We're way past that. So should we just like blow this call up and say, hey, move on, scratch me off your list? I could care less. Mark, you horse's ass, don't you ever call me again? And he laughed. He goes, no. I want you to send me some stuff, because you've been calling me and, I want to see what you guys do. And I'm like, okay, so what does that mean? So what's the next step? Where do we go? And I let him tell me, and I'm trying to adapt to the situation because you guys know when you get on the phone with people, it's tough. You don't get a chance to sit here and talk to people like this if you do it virtually or meet face to face. Like I really enjoyed my meeting with Randy. That's why I like going to trade shows because you actually get a chance to talk to people. Right. And that at MetalCon, that was a fun show because I had an opportunity. I never know who I'm talking to. CEO, president, and a couple of them were. It's just fun to talk to them because you can tell by the way they're talking. I've picked up.
Tom, what do you got? I'm gonna cut you off there, Mark. That's a long answer, man. Tom, what do you got? I
got three things that I'm currently reading at the same time.
All right.
Okay.
A Miracle That Changed the World, the 5,000-Year Leap. It's 29 principles that form the Constitution.
Oh, very cool.
Yeah, I belong to a group here in town. I'm also in the American Legion, and we have a Constitution class. So we study and we bring judges in, and they talk a little bit in depth about what the Constitution is. And we recently sponsored two young men, Mark and I, with Rex Sykes the other day, did their speech to give them more of that. The 15-year-old Stephen Bott won the competition this last week. He's going to the next level. He beat his brother, which is 17, and three other great young men. The amount of work and research they put in to deliver a message, it was quite impressed with those young men. And then, of course, I like personal development stuff. Live on Your Own Terms, Rex Sykes. And got another book in relationship, this Chicken Soup. What is it?
For the Soul? Or
Soul for
Chicken
married
Soup
couples.
for dinner?
For couples, yeah.
Chicken Soup for the Soul for couples, yeah.
Yep.
Love it.
So,
Randy, what do you reading?
Right now, there we are. So this book is Peg Buell and I think and Pete McDonald, The Honest Truth About Leadership. And this one, I met these folks a few weeks ago at a small trade show in Ohio. And I met them because I spent some time with them because I was emceeing the show or for the day. And so one of my things was to introduce them, right? So I wanted to get to know them a little bit because the staff gives you a biography. I don't read, you throw that away. I want to know who you are, and I'm just going to introduce you. And I really enjoyed these people. They're business coaches out of the Columbus, Ohio area. Actually going to have them on Building Wins Live one of these days. We're working on some timing, but really did a great talk about, the honest truth in leadership, as opposed to what everybody thinks you ought to do, things they think you ought to say, things that Wharton School of Business tells you ought to say. They get into the real nuts and bolts of it. It's really, so far, it's a really good book. So, like I said, that's what I'm reading right now. Good folks. So yeah, that's what I'm reading now. How about you, Eric? What are you reading?
Well, I'm an audio guy, and I'm listening to Mind Shift by Erwin McManus, and it's absolutely amazing. This is the third time I've ran through it, and just down to earth, like real takes on life, kind of like you're talking about, Randy. Like, it's not what you should say and do. It's real talk,
Yes.
which is always, that's what you want to hear, right? And
Exactly.
Lord knows I need to be better every day. You need to be a better husband and a better father and better employee and all that stuff, better friend. And so, that book just hits home big time.
Cool.
So
Well,
what else you got, Mark? I know you got some more questions. So
Well,
I'll just make this
you
statement.
talked about being authentic and you talked about being transparent. And I think we touched on something, always worrying what someone's going to think. I used to really struggle with that, but I'm at the point now where I really don't care. And don't take this the wrong way, guys, particularly if you haven't. If I wanted to talk to you guys about business, I would listen to you, or about mindset, I would listen to you. Yeah, there it is. And sometimes, and Randy touched on it, the gurus, some of these people haven't even done whatever. And I just can't really worry about their opinion. You know what I'm saying? Like, regardless of who's in the White House, regardless of who's doing what, if you haven't been there or done that, then it's okay to be critical to an extent, but not to the point where you're malicious and you just want to be disruptive and, scream and shout and go crazy on people. When I see people try at anything new in particular, I applaud it. And, I see kids strike out every now and then up at the plate. And I said, life lesson, you'll get it the next time, particularly older guys. I'm like, hey, you'll get the next one. And that's how you have to be. And I guess that's what I've learned. And there's no substitute for hard work. The older I get, I think I've learned now what my father Wayne was trying to teach me. Because as he used to say, we sit on our brains as men, and as we mature, it kind of moves up to your backside and finally gets up here, and the bulb comes on. And now my older son is a father, and my younger son's pursuing his dream, as Tom knows. He wants to be a coach, football coach, and he had an interview at a college. He already did his grad assistant stuff. And these are all challenges you go through. But I said, man, enjoy the process, because you're young, you're single, nobody's holding you back, man. You got nothing but time. You're 23, just go for it. But that's kind of where I'm coming
55,
from.
I got nothing but time. Let's go.
I know.
I'm just getting started.
Well,
Exactly.
We're young.
Tom's
Young.
got more. He's got plenty of time. I'm kidding, Tom. But Tom and I talk about this all the time. I mean, indirectly, directly, time, and that's, I guess, my enemy is time now. I don't know if you do this, but you can only goof off for so long, and then I think back like, gee, what did I really do today? If it's the weekend, and it's with the same breath, am I spending time with the right people too when I have that time? Am I doing those things I'm supposed to do? Always asking myself, and I guess never satisfied, because we can all do more. I mean, but you also got to keep a good frame about it and say, hey, I screwed up today. Tomorrow's another day, another opportunity. No big deal. I'll get back on track. I'll do what I need to do. So
Yeah, we're experiencing something that is a
Yep.
great demonstration. We talked about that last time we talked, right, Mark?
Right.
100 days and taking action. We got a president right now that's taking it, whether we agree with the political side or whatever, but it's a great demonstration of taking your idea and putting it to work right away. Just boom, 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 taking action. And I think that's an area that we all can improve on. You know, we're limited in our time,
Yep.
but if we lose this 30 minutes now, you can't make it up. If you
Right.
think you can, you're going to get yourself spinning your wheels, bogging yourself down, putting more stuff into the meat grinder. And
And you know, Tom, what you just said, taking action without, and everybody touched on this a little bit, taking action. If you believe in what you're doing, taking action and not really giving a rat's behind what anybody's going to say. Because look, you use
Right.
the current president, again, agree or disagree, but he's taking action, doesn't really care what anybody thinks because he believes, right or wrong, he believes. And I think a lot of times none of these things, good or bad, would be happening if he was waiting to see, you put the tea leaf in the air to see whether everybody's going to say, yeah, I think that's a good idea or that is not. At some point, if you believe, you just got to, go. And you know what?
Yep.
If it fails, it fails. If you don't like it, oh well. I mean, I'm sure I've done something in my life that Eric Bam doesn't like, but he still will buy me pizza when we're together. So, life is okay.
Not true.
And it's okay. You know what? I think that's another point. It's okay to disagree, but there's a way to go about it and learn from each other during the process. You don't have to, and that's over business or any, it's okay. Someone in Eric's business may come to him and say, hey, I got a better idea with a liner. What do you think? Now I know you wouldn't be crazy. You wouldn't be crazy enough to say, "Oh, you're all wet." You don't know what you're talking about. You'd at least listen to that individual. That's my whole point. But so many times we just want to wound. No, man, that's been tried. Forget about it. It's never going to work. And I don't know, because now you see the advent of this technology, and you all touched on it, with ChatGPT, the AI, and what's going on. You don't know what's next, man. I mean, cars that drive themselves. I mean, they claim they have them, but I would be scared to get out here on 285 in Metro Atlanta in rush hour, sitting on the passenger side and going to say, I'm going to program my car and let it drive me home. I'm like, I don't know about that, but just a thought.
Tim Lord,
Fellas, it's 5:50 and I've got to get Big Sister
to
a
go.
basketball game for some cheer.
Good.
Last game of the season. So I got to get little sister and get rolling. But I want to tell you, I enjoy watching you guys every Monday. I always when you guys are live, try and jump in and throw a few comments in and stuff, and was not going to miss the opportunity to jump on live with the big guy over here who has a book coming out, by the way.
I heard it.
I've read it, and it's exceptional. And there we go. There we go.
Hybrid. Okay.
Love it. And you know what? I'm just gonna, for me, before I get out of here, if I might just throw something out. I screw up every single day. I screw up as a father, and I screw up as a parent, and I screw up as a husband, and I screw up as a friend. And you know what? But the sun comes up every day for me, and I'm smart enough to know when I've screwed up, and I'm smart enough to apologize, and I'm smart enough to keep learning. I have friends that are 55. We all went to high school with people we see on Facebook where they're the same age, and they're stuck in their ways, and they can't get better, and they can't learn. And man, if I took that attitude, I'm friggin' half stupid anyway most of the time. And so if I didn't learn and apologize and get better, man, life would be pretty awful, because I'm not perfect. I'm far from it. And I've just got to be better every day. Got to be a better husband, got to be a better, father. And if I do those two things and I show up, to Randy's point, talking about action, told my son last week, I think 80% of life is just showing up. Show up and go full ass on what you got going on. Don't half ass it, go full ass. things turn out pretty good. But like I said, you gotta be smart enough to know when you screwed up, apologize for what you did wrong, learn from it. Sun comes up the next day. Let's go. You know?
Yeah.
Right
So
My
that's all I
greatest-
got. I'm gonna let you guys keep going, but I gotta get to some
Enjoy
cheers.
the
I
game.
appreciate you
Enjoy
guys.
the game.
Eric, thanks
Yeah.
a lot, bud.
Have fun, buddy.
Thank you,
All right,
Eric.
see you fellas. Be good.
Okay.
You got it.
All right.
All right.
That was great. Great.
Yep.
Yeah, I was just going to make a comment there as well as, my greatest mentor is my wife. She's keeps on, the greatest obstacle we have for improvement is our ego.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
Yep. And if we can step out of that, and as Eric put it so well, just admit it, apologize for it if it's necessary, learn from it, and as a famous song, the sun will come out tomorrow, right? And it just will.
Hey.
And Tom, Mark, you had brought up with your umpiring, people think they got to be so perfect on every single thing, and you're a Hall of Famer if you fail 70% of the time over your career in Major League Baseball, right? Because your job as a hitter is to what? Get on base.
Right.
And if you fail 70% of the time, you're probably going to be in Cooperstown.
Yeah.
So, how many of those guys, if they sucked in minor league ball, they didn't think they was ever going to get out of A into double A, gave up and went back and worked the family farm or the feed mill and said, screw it.
Right.
Wouldn't, or back to the city, back to the wherever, it wouldn't matter. They wouldn't be making the millions that they're doing and have the careers that they have. So, I think it's easy to get frustrated. Frustrated is one thing, but you can't let it cloud your, you can't let it cloud what your vision is. And when we talk about this a lot, but if you figure out what your why is, why am I doing this? And don't let anything else get in the way. It may be temporary, but it's all temporary. I mean, outside of death is kind of not, but I mean, or sometimes you've got.
That's a great point, Randy. Yeah, absolutely. And and Tom always talks about the why.
Yep.
And it's
Yep,
fun when you ask business owners, what's your why? And they go, what for question's that? No one's ever asked me that. What's your why for doing what you guys are doing right now? And are you open to change, or do you ever think about? Do you ever have these type meetings and they're like, no, we don't. Right. It's kind of outside looking outside in, and they just kind of, whoa, that's a different question.
It is, and what's interesting about that is I was talking to somebody about that today. Is being in the sales world, we all have our widgets, whatever that widget is, but
sure.
I don't sell widgets. I sell, and if this gets old, it gets said probably not enough, but you sell solutions, you sell relationships, because a widget's a widget. And I could go on and talk all day. I'm as good as anybody talking about my widget, but nobody wants to hear about my widget. What they want to hear about is what that is going to do for you, how that's going to improve your life, improve your profits, make life simpler for you, whatever the case may be. So if you can get past always going back to what's the widget and what's the reason I do this. And I got some good friends of mine in Tennessee. I'll give them a shout out. True Metal Supply, great guys up there, young guys running a great business. And they love to say, and I won't get it exactly as well as they say it probably, but we are a customer service solutions oriented company that just happens to make metal roofing. Right? It's a different mindset. We talked about one of the questions with mindset, but that's the mindset. It just happens to be that they make metal roofing today. But you know what? If 3 years from now, for whatever reason, they decided not to do metal roofing, whatever it is they do, they'll do very successful because they got the mindset that had nothing to do with, and not nothing to do with metal roofing. But the first key is take care of customers, find solutions, do what you say you'll do. If you do those things, it doesn't matter what your widget is. It really doesn't.
You're right.
That's correct.
Yeah.
Well, man, do you believe that we're getting at the top of the hour, 3 more minutes till 7 o'clock.
Look at that.
Yeah, I want to thank all those that have jumped on this afternoon and left comments.
Yeah, well, we can point out Tim Lord, Robert Booker, and there was another person here that I don't know if that was to me or
Lou
you.
Kavyaski. Jim was on.
Yeah.
Sure,
If
Steve.
you scroll at the top further up, let me see.
I think somebody thought you was quite handsome, Mark. That was
Yeah, I
nice.
think, yeah. And I was like, is this a joke? But they were in a military uniform. So, so.
Wonderful.
Yeah.
Just want to thank everybody. Tag and share this out there. Hopefully that some point, some information can inspire you, make a difference, or change somebody else's life. That's what Elevate Your Profits is all about. So, yeah, boy, I tell you what, when we say an hour, sometimes it sounds like it's going to be, that's forever, but it sure flies when you have great guests like we had on tonight.
It's good times. I appreciate you having me on. Always great to talk to you guys.
No problem.
Keep bringing the fire, fellas.
All right.
I have to catch you at a trade show sometime when you're out and about, Randy. If you ever, I didn't know if you were going to do that in Atlanta. When you and I met at MetalCon. And
Oh yeah.
Do your thing, but I know you had other things going on that day too. So
yeah, that was a busy one. But we'll catch up again soon, somewhere, somehow, buddy. It.
Because that's when I just let me know the next metal show that or whatever trade show when you're coming through here. I'll gladly come see you.
Hey, we got one come up in 1st of April in Knoxville. That's not terrible far up the road
No.
for you.
So which one's that?
The National Frame Builders Association.
Oh yeah. Okay.
Yeah, that's one I'm near and dear to my heart because I'm on the board of directors for that. So
Oh, my
pretty
goodness.
active week, and we've got just an incredible show coming up in Knoxville.
Cool.
So.
Well, the next time you come in the Milwaukee, Chicago area, let me know. We'll meet up. Okay, bud?
We'll do it. You got it. It's a deal.
Man.
Yeah.
The man is everywhere.
Chicago's about 2 hours from me, so
Yep.
Not a big deal.
No, you got her.
But I also just want to put a plug out there, our little commercial, QUpfundraising.com. That's our sponsor. Any nonprofit out there that's looking to raise money, go to our website, find out more about what I'm doing, and I'd be glad to assist you raising a critical element of your needs for your nonprofit organization. That's raising money. So got a very unique platform. And or if you're looking to be part of the team, have a passion to help nonprofits, I'd love to talk with you as well.
Cool.
All right.
Well, Randy, thank you again, and as
My pleasure.
well, Eric. And I know we'll see you guys out there on the airways.
It's a deal. We'll be here. Not going away.
All right, bud.
All right.
God bless
Cheers.
you.
Bless you all.
Thanks, bud.
Cheers.